the car in today's review is one that gets heads turning everywhere. It's always been all about its attitude, its zippy nature and its driver's appeal. But today, it's about a little bit more. It's about being socially conscious because this is the first ever all-electric Mini. While visibly it may look pretty similar to the internal combustion version, the key difference is that there's just an electric motor under the bonnet that is significantly lighter. The motor is powered by a 32.6 kWh battery and puts out 184 HP and 270 Nm. There's a single electric motor that powers the front axles of the Mini. Apart from this key difference, which is under the skin, visibly the car gets just a few highlights that make it look marginally different. There's an embossed Mini Electric logo, the turn indicator inserts, tailgate and the grille get yellow versions of this insignia too. But while the grille area remains similar, it's closed because the electric motor doesn't really require much cooling. The side view mirrors are also in yellow on this version. The rear has been redesigned to reduce drag, and since there's no exhaust, the undercarriage and rear have special air ducting. The optional 17-inch alloys also have what BMW like to call power spoke two-tone aero styling. Charge connection port is exactly where the fuel filler was in the regular version. On the interior, it's all the same, with high-quality bits and funky designs and shapes. The digital readout for the speedo and the level of charge readings are very straightforward, and even the information imparted on the infotainment screen is limited. So it leaves geeky owners longing for more EV-related data. Now, let's take a look at the feature list. Well, it is a small car, it is a Mini, remember, and it is one that people will use predominantly in the city, especially in its electric avatar, with the claimed range being 235 kilometers to about 270 kilometers. So we had to find out for ourselves, and we decided to have a normal working day to find out what the reality was. So I started off from home, and as per usual, there is always an errand to run before going to work, and that's what I did first. Now the thing is, I live in an area which has got really steep slopes, which generally kills battery power, so it was interesting to see what happened first. Starting out of the gate, the Mini just darted off the block. Small pedal inputs get big responses with the instant torque, and it feels quite thrilling. Well, running that errand gave me time to check out the boot, which actually has remained similar. Because the T-shaped batteries now are stored deep in the floorboard, and they're placed between the front two seats and under the rear seat. The only real difference is that the rear seat cushioning has gone up by a small teeny tiny margin, and I did check out that rear seat too. Take a look. For someone my size, one can still fit in there pretty easily, as you can see. The rear seat is cramped, but with the dual sunroof, it doesn't let you feel hemmed in at all. Let's get back to what else happened through the day. Well, that small amount of slope, no matter how steep it was, just didn't do much damage to the battery range. I think it was just too small an area. And of course, the way back was all downhill too, so it really didn't matter. But when you are consistently going uphill, it will kill your battery range a lot faster, and that's something you need to remember. However, going downhill threw up a revelation for me here. That's when I realized the brake regen is aggressive and you cannot really coast downhill. There are two levels, low and high, and in both modes it is really single pedal driving and you don't need to use the brake. In fact, as I discovered through the rest of my drive, even in the low mode on a flat road, it does bring the Mini to a halt. So coasting, if you want to do it when you realize you're running out of battery to extend your battery range, is really not possible in the Mini Cooper SE, as I discovered on my way to my first meeting in Bandra but traffic was really chaotic on Mumbai streets. The joy of having a Mini is the size that makes it so easy to get in and out of any space, and squeezing in and out of traffic gaps is also a breeze. Add in the fact that there's no multi-speed gearbox or turbo lag, just instant torque to propel you at a really rapid pace, and it makes it very entertaining to drive. BMW's patented synchronous motor ensures that the rotor can be lighter and spin faster, producing better power density than most motors. Well, slow-moving stop-start traffic is really where EVs do their best, and it doesn't deplete too much of the range. I'd done about 23 kilometers by the time I reached Bandra, and I'd used up only 15% of the battery. Although at BKC I did use some of the empty stretches and open corners to really enjoy the Mini a bit more. Oh, it's every bit a Mini as far as the handling is concerned. It's still got that go-kart-like direct feel, and with that instant torque, darting out of corners is just that much quicker and that much more fun. In fact, making it more dynamic is the fact that the center of gravity is 30 millimeters lower than the Cooper S thanks to the batteries in the floor, and the nose is lighter with no IC engine. Adding drama on occasion is a bit of torque steer when you dump your foot down, which is something we've never experienced in an EV before. Now, after enjoying the Mini a bit and a quick meeting in BKC, we headed off for the shoot to our favorite location, which was around 20 kilometers from where I was, and I had about 72% of the battery left and 90 kilometers of range showing, which meant it was doable going there and back to our office. And as we reached our location and some open road, I could actually push the Mini a bit more. So initial acceleration in this car really does get you to go woohoo! It is exciting. But as you extend your legs and get going a lot faster, it does taper off. And that's when the fun began. More open roads, place to really stretch your legs and test the full potential of the Mini Electric. Yeah, when you go quicker, boom, your range comes down so much faster, as we discovered on our usual testing and shooting stretch. But it was hard to resist because this thing really pushes you and eggs you on to go quick. There is a small motor, and the car is about 145 kilograms more than the IC version as well. Still, it is electric, quite literally. The Mini gets up to 60 kilometers an hour in just 3.9 seconds, and the 100 comes up in 7.3 seconds. Driving around all day gave me a chance to also realize that while the way the car handles is fun, the steering is a little heavy, and as far as the ride goes, it is firm. There's a lot that filters into the passenger, and that's something you have to be prepared for. It does also feel fidgety over uneven roads, especially when you get up to speed. However, with the ride height raised about 18 millimeters, you don't have to ever worry about going over speed breakers. It never scraped its belly. And for added protection, the batteries are covered with a solid base plate. Well, it's been quite an interesting day, and we've actually managed to finish our shoot relatively early. The Mini Cooper EV has been doing well so far. We've finished about 80 kilometers, and we still have about, 49% to be exact. So roughly at this point, I could estimate the real world range to be about 160 kilometers. But on the way back, I'm going to use the modes, put it into green, and I'll talk about that while I'm driving back and tell you how much more I can get out of this car. There is a Green Plus mode also to enhance the range. However, it turns off climate control, and so it isn't a setting owners are likely to dial. The Sport mode makes the throttle a tad sharper compared to the mid and green modes, which feel reasonably quick. The absence of a growling intake and a booming exhaust doesn't captivate your oral senses like the internal combustion version, but the Cooper SE's ability to whiz past traffic in complete silence is a very unique experience, lending the childlike Mini a mature, serene approach. Now, with the searing heat on that particular day, I dialed it back to mid mode to ensure full function of the AC pretty soon. Using a 3-pin home charger, the Mini will juice up its battery in around 15 hours. Its option 11 kilowatt wall box unit will replenish 80% of charge in just 2.5 hours, with the remaining 20% taking an hour more. It also supports 50 kilowatt DC fast charging, which takes around 36 minutes to charge the battery from 0 to 80%.
Well, made it back to the office and did everything we had to do today. We've done 114 kilometers. We still have 33% battery left. So like I said, real world would really be about 160 kilometers in the Mini Cooper SE. That's not bad for city runs. Of course, if you take it out onto more open roads and hilly climbs, you'd probably get a little less. However, for your everyday grind in the city, this car really does well. I mean, it is bucket loads of fun to drive. That instant torque really puts a big grin on your face, especially, at that 0 to 60 kilometers an hour, which is something you use a lot of in the city. You get away from the traffic lights easily. You can nip in and out of gaps. And of course, it still has that very fun, and may I say electric, mini handling. Well, it's been a fun day for us.
Now at 47.2 lakh, the price may not be mini, but if budget is not a constraint, rest assured the electric avatar of the Mini is still max fun.